All right, welcome back. Our video this afternoon is going to cover erosion and deposition. In the previous video, you heard about weathering, and weathering is the breaking of rock. Really important to understand when weathering happens, the sediments stay near to each other. Even if it is for just a little while, the sediments are near. The agents of erosion and deposition carry those sediments and then drop them. Okay, so we're going to talk about erosion, we're going to talk about deposition. You have your notes handy, you're going to fill in those notes, and then we're going to bring it back to class and we're going to work and we're going to see some pictures, some examples of what erosion looks like, what deposition looks like, some of the landforms that are created by erosion and deposition. And that's really important when we look at our Texas landscape and our Texas ecoregions to understand our state is, and our earth is shaped the way it's shaped because of the agents of weathering, erosion, and deposition. Okay, so first of all, erosion. Erosion is the movement. It's very important that you understand the idea that it's the movement of the sediments from one place to another. It can be their original location, but it could also be a different location from place to place to place. If you've ever watched something blow in the wind, you know, maybe a piece of trash when you've watched and you tried to catch it as it skitters off through the parking lot, or maybe you've watched like dandelion seeds blow in the breeze. Okay, you'll understand that movement from place to place. It'll blow, it'll stop, it'll blow some more. Okay, so it's the movement of sediments from one location to another. Make sure you write that down on your note sheet. That'll be on a test later on, so push pause if you need to, come back, and we'll continue. Okay, some of the agents, we call them agents of erosion. It's just what causes it to happen, are wind, glaciers, water, waves, and gravity. And we'll explain each one of these a little bit more in class, but most importantly, I'll just give you a little bit of an explanation. Of course, wind, that's pretty easy to understand. It just blows in the wind. If you've ever had sand blown in your face or against your legs, you know the sediments are picked up. Water and waves. Waves and water, yeah, they're the same, but they're not quite the same. Moving water can move it. Ocean waves or lake waves, those are going to be a little different. They're going to cause different types of erosion to happen. Okay, so moving water, we're going to talk about rivers and how the river, the change of the river, the meander of the river can cause different types of erosion. Okay. Gravity, of course, like landslides. We learned about gravity last unit when we talked about balanced and unbalanced forces. And then glaciers. Glaciers is one of my favorite ones. We talk about how the Great Lakes are formed. But glaciers are a very large agent of erosion. And we'll talk about that in class a little bit more. Okay, so make sure you have those written down. Push pause if you need to. Come back and we'll move on to deposition. All right, deposition is okay. Deposition is the laying down of the sediments. When we see the word deposition, I underline the word deposit. When you make a deposit at the bank, or when you put out a deposit, you drop something off, you give it away. So deposition is going to be the laying down, the putting down of the sediment that's being carried from one place to another. Okay, so an example of that we talked about the piece of trash blowing in the parking lot. The wind will blow it, and then it'll deposit it. And then it'll blow it some more, and it'll deposit it again. That happens, it's a cycle that happens over and over. Okay, so the sediments, whether they're big pieces of rock or small, tiny pieces of rock, sediments like grains of sand, the wind, ice, as in glaciers, and water can drop them off from place to place. When a river makes a turn, it has to slow down on the inside of the turn, so it can't carry as much sediment, and a lot of the sediments are dropped off. The wind doesn't always blow, and so sometimes it blows really strong, and then sometimes it'll slow down, it'll gust. And so when the wind stops, it'll drop its load, it'll deposit its sediments. Okay. So make sure you have that written down in your notes. We will work with these definitions in class to make sure you have them, and they'll also show up on a test. As always, if you have any questions, you can message me right away on Edmodo, or you can write them down on your paper and we'll talk about them tomorrow in class. Thank you for watching.